27-year-old Akayed Ullah remains hospitalized in New York. CBN News has uncovered the former taxicab driver has been living in the United States for the past 7 years. He's a Bangladesh national and came to the U.S. legally on what's called a chain migration visa that allows foreign relatives of citizens to enter the U.S.
This was an attempted terrorist attack. Thank God the perpetrator did not achieve his ultimate goals.
Caught on video, the crude device detonated in a passageway below ground at the world's busiest and nation's largest bus terminal. Police say Ullah was wearing the pipe bomb when it went off, injuring but not killing him. 3 others suffered minor injuries like ringing of the ears and headaches due to the explosion.
A thorough background investigation into Akayed Ullah is being conducted by the Joint Terrorist Task Force.
The FBI and New York City authorities conducted a search of Ullah's home where he lived with other family members. He reportedly claimed the attack was inspired by ISIS, and they're trying to find evidence to see if that's true. But more importantly, they want to find out if this was a one-time lone wolf attack or part of a larger coordinated attack that is still unfolding. It was just weeks ago terrorists called for such attacks to be carried out online, like this image of Santa in crowds in Times Square, with the message, "We meet at Christmas in New York soon."
The threat of terrorism, psychologically, after all, what did Lenin say? The purpose of terror is to terrorize. So it's a psychological event. So we're far more afraid of the possibilities than we are of reality.
Harlan Ullman is a senior advisor at the Atlantic Council of Business Executives for National Security and author of several books, including Anatomy of Failure, Why America Loses Every War It Starts. He says the last thing we should do is panic.
The New York police force is one of the best in the world. They've got one of the best counter-terrorists. We haven't had a problem. My guess is that nothing is going to happen this New Year's Eve.
Even New York officials are echoing the same thing.
We're not going to allow them to disrupt us. That's exactly what they want. And that is exactly what they're not going to get.
And New Yorkers should already be seeing increased police presence at all transportation hubs around the city. Pat?
Eric, there's been some criticism that there's a mosque this man went to that was teaching radical things, but the city refused to act on it. Is this political correctness choking off the effectiveness of the police department?
Well, I got to tell you what, this is something that President Trump is already talking about. This is something that needs to change in the respects of this whole political correctness. Along with that, this whole chain migration visa program. This is something that has already been deemed that it is legal according to the Supreme Court, but at the same time, we got to do a better process in the whole vetting system. This is something that we're allowing people to come in just because they have relatives that have made it in this lottery type of program and being able to come into the United States and then allowing other people to come in just because they're related. This is something that the president is definitely going to bring up in the respects of saying that, something more has to be done, especially with the vetting process.
New Yorkers were spared really much. What could have happened if the thing had really succeeded the way he planned initially?
Yeah, you know what, Pat, I was actually talking to several of my sources with the FBI, and they were telling me that there was a second device that was on him, another 6-inch pipe bomb that did not explode. So had that exploded, it would have been even a larger explosion. And if he would have been in a crowded subway, he was just on the steps of the subway there in the platform area. But had he been actually in a moving subway, that could have actually caused a lot more damage. And thankfully, no one was hurt. Just a ringing of the ears and some headaches, but nothing serious.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you being with us on this one. So keep us informed. And ladies and gentlemen, this so-called chain migration, I'm sure they're going to do something about that. But you have a chain of relatives, and if you're at one end of the chain, you can come in under this visa program, and of course, there's not adequate vetting, so New Yorkers were, well, it's a problem.